Daisy Jones and the Six is the latest Prime Video series, so let's see if this new show is worth your time. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. In 1977, Daisy Jones and the Six were on top of the world. After a sold out show at Chicago's Soldier Field, they called it quits. Now decades later, the band members agreed to reveal the truth. So this is based off of the popular novel of the same name, which was released in 2019, Daisy Jones and the Six. This is a fictional story, but there is a lot of similarities to the band Fleetwood Mac. Riley Keough and Sam Claflin star within this series, and it feels really typical to really a lot of popular bands in the 70s and 80s as they deal with drugs and alcohol and recording issues and relationships along the way. It feels like it could fit a lot of popular bands. This is a 10-episode series that is in a form of a documentary style. We have our musicians in the 70s, them rising to fame, forming the band, Daisy Jones joining them, and then we have them when they were being interviewed and how they thought about the band and relationships and everything along the way. What this series does well is establish some of the behind the scenes issues between the musicians within the band, especially between Daisy and Billy, as they struggle to have this relationship in the beginning. Daisy feels like the songs are way too sappy. Billy does not like the way that Daisy has kind of moved this band, so there is some conflict surrounding the music within the first few episodes of this series. Now, Billy is married in this series, but there's no denying that Billy and Daisy do have this chemistry. So it's very easy to see where this is going to go. In the middle half of the series, you're starting to see where this relationship is going to go. And the first few episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six starts to focus on the music, creating songs in this album, having a concert and everything, and the songs are really good, really catchy original songs. And we see how Daisy and Billy are starting to trust each other and write these songs. And then the series just starts to focus on drama and relationships along the way. And not just Billy and Daisy, but also the other members within the band and Billy's wife as well, as she starts to have her suspicions about Daisy and Billy, and then she goes off and does her own thing. So the series, which is about a band and their rise to fame, and this documentary style about them revealing everything that had happened between them, it's a little less focused on the music aspect and more of just the drama behind this band and the relationships. And at times you feel like it's not that deep. You look at some of the performances from Riley Keough and Sam Claflin within here, it's just really thin. You feel like there is this lack of development for these characters as they are having these photo shoots, are creating this album. It just seems like it's the same thing throughout these 10 episodes. And as we kind of get deeper into that relationship, you just aren't buying into it. It's not because of the chemistry between Sam Claflin and Riley Keough, because they do have good chemistry. It's because the way that these characters are presented. Daisy is supposed to challenge Billy, his temptations surrounding his wife and relationships, and then Billy is supposed to challenge Daisy. And we see a little bit of that back and forth between the two, but we quickly forget about that, and the development is lacking with most of the series for these characters, as we just really focus on relationships and rather the music and how it could strengthen this band, because there is other members of this band and they feel like just major background characters within here, and they are part of the documentary aspect to it, and we do get some storylines here and there for some of the other members of the band, but it's really focused on Daisy Jones. She's in the title of the show, and then also Billy and their relationships, their demons, what they're struggling with. You easily can forget about the other members, and I feel like there were some decent storylines, some moments that could challenge the whole group, but they explored a little bit of it, and then it seemed to just kind of forget about it. And the documentary aspect to it isn't deep either. There is no emotions to the future versions of themselves as they start to revisit memories, things that happened between the band. They're just stating what we already saw. There's no there's no personal moments to these scenes, no moments where we're getting a realization of what had happened and how they felt about it in those moments. You have a scene in the 70s, maybe of them creating this music, and then it's Sam Claflin and Riley Keough and the other members of the band stating just what we already saw. It's almost as the writers don't trust that we just saw everything and we're able to fully understand it. So we have to have another scene just restating what we already just saw. It's pretty pointless at times, and it doesn't really add any deep personal look into what had happened and how they kind of processed it all. It's just them saying, hey, yeah, I remember that. Let's move on to the next scene. When we really get into the deep moments of Billy and Daisy and that relationship, will they fall in love? Will they not fall in love? It really forgets the setup of the beginning, forming the band, trying to get a record label, them having a concert, and then once we understand that, hey, will they fall in love or will they not fall in love? It's really focused on the drama between the band and how they separated and the tension between them. And at times, it does work because I think it's a bit realistic to have that relationship. They spend so much time together, but also a lot of band members just go through a lot of problems. If it's alcohol or drugs, or if it's relationship issues or that tension and they just have to separate. We've seen that before in so many bands. They fall apart because of relationships or drugs and alcohol. So, at times this series does feel very realistic, but I wanted to see more of how the music brought them together, how they created these songs, because these songs are really good and the singing in here is terrific, and there is some highlights within the beginning of the series, but it easily loses its focus midway through and it just seems very repetitive from there on. So Daisy Jones and the Six was a long series to get through, 10 episodes, about 45 minutes long, and at times I kind of lost interest, but overall there is some good music, some really good performances in here. We are looking at the characters individually and what they're going through, but the other characters are supposed to challenge each other, and it's just not as deep as I think it could have been. I've read reviews on the book and people really like the book. It seems like the book has so much more detail surrounding everything about Billy and Daisy, and I'd be curious to read this book and seeing the differences between the two. Seen reviews for the show and the book, and there seems to be some really massive changes. So before I give you my score for Daisy Jones and the Six, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. I'm going to go ahead and give Daisy Jones and the Six a B-. Thank you guys for checking my review for Daisy Jones and the Six, the new Prime Video series. Have you guys seen it by chance? What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.